Hit it with a hammer. The only problem I have with this game is that she keeps running straight into the enemies. Kinda like how Veronica from New Vegas would, but less smart about it. Yeah, I have to admit, the companions in this game are... Well, to be honest with you, the AI in general in combat is a little weak. The enemy tends to just sort of run at you. They do take cover occasionally though. The enemy does occasionally hide behind an object and shoot at you, whereas your companions just sort of hang around trying to catch bullets. That wistful way Gopher says Firefly hurts my soul. Yeah... I know Gopher likes to futz with the UI, but he hasn't even left the tutorial area yet, and now I can't tell if he even has a companion or not, and he has absolutely no idea if she's still up and fighting. I'm not completely sure that Emerald Vale was a tutorial area. It feels like it at first, but it just sort of becomes a normal questing area after a while. I certainly wouldn't say I was still in the tutorial phase. However, as for knowing if I've got a companion or not, yes, always. I never left the ship without as many companions as I could possibly take. So you don't have to ever wonder, and you've got no idea if she's still up and fighting. To be honest though, that doesn't make very much difference. You don't really change your tactics much. It's not like you go, oh, one of the companions is down, I shall do X, Y, and Z. And later on when you get some better perks and you can actually heal them, it can be a little more useful. You see them getting weaker, so, you know, you take the medicine. But overall, it just isn't really useful. Not to mention the cooldown of the special attacks once unlocked. Also not that useful. That was the reason I got rid of those. They were just, I never looked at them. I just never ever looked at them. I usually use that ability at the start of a fight and the fight ends before that cooldown occurs. Later on, as I start getting a little stronger, I did notice I was occasionally able to do it twice in a combat, or there'd be combat so close to a previous combat it would still be on cooldown, and it did catch me out every now and again. It wasn't a big deal, but it really doesn't make very much difference. Whereas the constant UI elements just sat there taking up real estate, that really did make a huge difference. Not that I expect him to actually use them much once he gets tired of the unskippable animation. I didn't get tired of the unskippable animation, to be honest. I know he likes minimal UI, but think of the viewers. Right, but honestly, do the viewers need to know that the ability is ready to fire? Is this so that if it's ready to fire and I don't use it, you can tell me off? Tell me off anyway, everyone else does. P.S. Randomly disappearing UI elements with no explanation makes some viewers wonder if your recording is screwed up. No. My recording is on a totally separate machine. It records what's on the gaming rig, so it will have no effect on the UI. Perhaps you can add a black screen message saying I modded the UI from here on out. Enjoy. Honestly though, I sort of tweak these games, especially games that can be tweaked and modded, so often I'd end up with loads of these messages. I think ordinarily it's reasonably obvious what's going on. As I progress in the game, I get to a point where I think, yeah, these UI elements are just not that useful. I'm going to hide them. Can anyone advise me, please? I didn't see in-game settings for these two things that I'm noticing in this playthrough. How to turn off part of the HUD. Right, okay. And what people replied? Mods. Actually, no, it's InnyTweaks. There is a file that has been uploaded that is somebody else's InnyTweaks that changes some of the UI elements. I generally speaking recommend against that where possible. It's much better to figure out what they did and do it to your own ini file, because there may be other settings that you actually wanted. How to turn off the item loot highlight effects. That is actually just an in-game option. You turn it on or off. Corporate speak. Okay. This Let's Play is just pure gold. Haven't laughed that much for ages. Thank you very much. He's only played the game for a few hours and he's already forgot he fixed the robot in the junkyard. I am not looking forward to 50. The robot in the junkyard. Is that the one I fixed on the outskirts of Edgewater? Probably one of the first times I used engineering. I didn't forget that. Usually Gopher is somewhat thorough in his looting searching. Really? Nobody else thinks so. If sometimes a tad unperceptive. See, now that's more in line with the usual thought. But in this game, he seems to be rushing somewhat in locations. Okay, every single solitary game I've ever played, without fail, there are people telling me how bad I am at looting, searching. They're telling me I'm rushing the game and that I'm also going too slow. And they all tell me I'm unperceptive. And yet, I will see so many comments saying that in every video where people are surprised and say, it didn't happen before. See, now this is how you do spoiler comments. It's dead nourishing. Okay, you know what? Sometimes I think I actually need a bit of a smack for some of these titles. Gopher, is there any particular reason you are not finishing the conversation with the vicar? I'm assuming you mean, is there any particular reason that I am not selecting certain dialogue lines with the vicar? Yeah? No particular reason. Okay, I no longer believe you just haven't noticed that Vicar Max is available as a follower. You just don't want him on board. Number one, he wasn't available as a follower at this point in the playthrough. You needed to select certain dialogue options with him, I believe. I can't tell you that for sure. But if you don't take those options, and there's no way to know those options lead to him as a follower, so how would I notice that he was available as a follower? 2, if I didn't want him on board, I could just say, no, sorry, I don't want you on board. Dang it, Gopher, why? Dang it. Why can't you just exhaust all of the vicar's conversation options like you seem to have done with literally everyone else but him? Because I don't. I don't exhaust conversation options with literally everyone. In fact, there are several NPCs where I choose not to take certain options because they're just not appropriate for the character or the point I'm at in the conversation. Sometimes it just feels... it just feels wrong. It feels a little silly to ask a certain question at a certain point. You know, like if you're giving someone some bad news about their son dying and then the next line is some very inappropriate comment, I might decide to leave that and come back and have that conversation another time. In the case of Max, it was simply the fact that none of those options were options I had any inclination to choose. Just no inclination, no reason to say them. It's interesting how every YouTube LP seems to agonise over or often completely miss some of the things I just stumbled on and figured out. It's not really that big of a deal, to be honest. We all miss things and we all occasionally stumble on things just by accident. And the thing is, you tend to notice other people who miss the things you found obvious, but you never notice the things that you missed that they found obvious. It's the way your brain works. In the case of YouTube Let's Players, there is also the added problem of them talking all the time. It's a lot harder to pay attention to other things whilst you're flapping your gums, so to speak. The choice. Ooh, it's that episode. It's not the right choice, it's the Spacer's choice. I should have known that would be the top comment. Reveal some character flaw. Yeah, Gopher. Moral cowardice. It was your decision, not Parvati's. No. No, it bloody well was not. I actually did not like this quest at all. I did not like this whole, you have to choose which half of the settlement withers and probably dies in the end. I know they were going for this sort of morally grey choice where you're trying to pick the better of two terrible options, but this one was ham-fisted, badly done, and quite frankly caused me to stop role-playing for a little while. This entire choice was not one that did for role-playing reasons as much as I tried, because when it comes down to it, Monty does not have the right to just walk into the settlement and make that kind of decision. He really doesn't. Let's face it, we all know why he did it. He did it because he needed a component, and he didn't try to find other ways of getting this component or fix the ship or find a way off planet that didn't involve fixing his ship. He didn't try any of the other things you might have tried because Gopher. knew the game was probably going to stall on this, and that the devs wanted him to make this choice and feel bad about it. Now again, I'm not against these sort of choices in games, but they need to be better done. There needs to be some sort of immediate danger, you know. There's a meteor coming, it's going to crash into this place or that place. You can only save one place, you have 10 seconds to decide. Decide now! You know, and if you don't decide, it's going to be even worse. And so, you know, you're, oh, right, no, okay, I think they're the better people, so I'll do the other people. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, you get forced into this choice, so you make it. This one did not feel like it had that sort of immediacy, and I felt that from a role-playing perspective, I probably should have spent several more days, maybe weeks, even months trying to find an alternative way off the planet, or to bring the two communities together before I made the decision. In fact, bring the two communities together and then they can make the decision. Because this is just not something that an outsider should be deciding. Imagine if somebody arrived in your country and after 2 days felt like they had the right to decide which half of your country was going to live and die. You'd be like, oi, mate, come here a second. What is Monty thinking here? Parvati is a member of Edgewater, but why does that somehow make it her decision? Because she knows the people, she knows the ramifications of it, because it's her community, but mostly because it's certainly not Montgomery's decision to make. I mean, I realise he sounds British, but that doesn't mean he's bringing the empire back. Love when Gopher acts like a big baby and can't make a decision, or makes bad decisions because he just acts like he doesn't have a spine. Talk about being a weak sauce. Grow a spine. There's a lot of flexing going on in the comment section here, isn't there? Your moral compass is actually worse than that of Jack Sparrow. I quite like Jack Sparrow, actually. There is a lot of flexing going on about the fact that I didn't like this choice, or that I left it to Parvati, right? People wanted me to sort of just walk in there and go, I have arrived, my name is Montgomery, and I have come to decide which of you shall live and die. You shall die. You shall die also. You shall live. Get over here and give me a kiss.